What's up, fellow nerds and geeks and fans of everything sci-fi, comic books, all that great stuff that we always talk about. How are you? How is everybody tonight? Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone, so much for taking the time out of your so very, very busy day to spend an hour with us as we go live here every single Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Victor and I will bring you the latest in geekdom, nerd news, all kinds of stuff that we always talk about here on the show. And we are very happy that you are joining us here live. And also a huge thank you to all those who will be watching the replay of this over on YouTube and, of course, Facebook and the Galaxy of Geeks group as well, which is our private group, which if you'd like to join for free, you can just head over to Facebook, type in Galaxy of Geeks group, and there you can enter. We have a community of about 200 geeks just like you, all talking about the things that make us oh so happy all the time. So with that, hey, I'm going to say hello to my co-host right now, Victor Ruiz. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. Doing well. It's been it was like a marathon of a weekend last weekend. I mean, we had the first episode of Winter Soldier and I'm gonna say Bucky just to screw with you, but because I guess it's the Bucky and Bucky show, the Mephisto and Bucky show. The Falcon and Winter Soldier dropped, and then we had the Snyder cut of Justice League drop, and then there's been a whole bunch of like news coming out since then as well. So there's a bunch of things happening, bunch of activity as we have now moved from winter to spring. So we are now thawing out, and all the geek stuff is just it's just plentiful out there.
Yeah, I don't know. It's snowed in the mountains by me, so
yeah.
Even though it's spring, it's cold at night. It's cold for us anyway.
Yeah. Well, I guess the weather over in Spain is certainly different than the weather here in New Jersey.
Absolutely.
So if you're watching this live, as always, we do invite you to post your comments and questions as we go along here, and we will definitely acknowledge them and bring them up on screen and read them as we move along. So with that, our first topic that we're going to be diving into is, cue it up, boom, the Mephisto and Bucky show. Mephisto.
Yeah, there's
and boom goes the dynamite.
There's the drop.
Yeah, yes, long day. Anyway, yeah, Falcon and Winter Soldier. I mean, much like Wanda, I don't think people were expecting what we got. Because the reviews were what I'd read, and we talked about last weekend a little bit, was how it picked up right after Endgame. So, Endgame was the last thing that we saw was the funeral.
Right.
But aside from that, everyone remembers the big battle that took place. So I think people are still waiting. People that were dismayed with WandaVision, we're still waiting for a big, Battle of the Bastards episode, and it still hasn't happened yet. We got Falcon and Winter Soldier, as me and you talked.
Right.
Really sure, it had its action right in the beginning, and then you had really a good I don't know if human story is the correct way of addressing it, but we got to see what it's like when you take the wings off, when you when you put that the machine guns down like Bucky does. We got to see what it was like for Sam Wilson and his sister going through financial troubles, going to the bank, being told, hey, you've really got nothing that we can kind of fall back on to give you a loan. And it's kind of real. Hey, how do you guys get paid? Did Tony Stark pay you guys? Did the government pay you guys? And he says, no, it's from people's goodwill. And he was kind of hoping that the bank was a goodwill institution, which they're far from it. It was kind of the opposite. He was giving up a free selfie, whereas the bank manager was pretty much having nothing to do with it. So,
yeah, it definitely was. Like I was talking to you offline, is that it was this like total, like we had this huge like superhero, or I should say action hero moment with that whole opening scene and the helicopter chase. I mean, that was awesome. And then it's like, okay, what's next? Well, he goes home and he takes the armor off, and all of a sudden now we're dealing with real stuff. He's back. He's talking to his sister, talking about the family business, trying to save it. He's been gone for 5 years because he was blipped. So, they're once again, they're bringing in that reality of like what was going on while, people were gone for 5 years, and then having to come back into this world. And, those people were left behind and had to keep going. Like, the world, time and living life didn't stop for them. And I loved how they're dealing with that, the mental part of it, the physical part of it. And then, of course, like you said, that whole scene at the bank really transpires. And I think it was such a moment for him see that happen. Like, I really think he was expecting, like, the goodwill, and there was no goodwill to be had. The guy was, a typical, like, crummy, like, banker-esque, for once it's like, this is a villain. He actually, not that the guy's a villain, but they definitely made it feel like there's a villain he can't beat. Like, it just, you're not going to beat the bank, and where's your credit and all this stuff. And it's like, well, he's been gone for 5 years. He was blipped from, and it's just like, none of it mattered. And it was very real. It was a very, very real moment there. And I like that. And then I loved how they then transitioned into what Bucky's been going through since he's been back. And we find out that the pardon that he's gotten in the stipulation for that is that he has to see a therapist, and which were very reminiscent of Tony Soprano there. I felt like with him and Dr. Melfi having their moments together. But I really liked that, she's been his therapist, she's been working with him and, going through his steps. And we find out that he's on this like redemption arc where he's trying to make peace with all the things that he did, which, when you and I were talking about, this is another real thing that I like that they're pursuing, is the fact that, he did he did awful things. He killed, but it wasn't by choice. Like, he was captured, brainwashed, manipulated, I'd be given all kinds of drugs and all kinds of stuff, but he has to live with the memories of those actions. So it's not like he doesn't remember that stuff. So he has to live with that, and he's dealing with it. And that's a lot. I mean, it's a lot for I can only imagine what it is to unpack all that. And I like that they're not glossing over that. Like, we're seeing him deal with this in his way. And we find out the thing with, they get the setup, and we weren't sure. And I like the way they did it. Like, we see him as Winter Soldier, and you're like, there's a moment of like, wait, is he Winter Soldier again? But then you realize they kind of play a trick, an editing trick there. But you could also see that like they tinted the color. It was sort of like this, like almost like a sepia desaturated look, and then it cuts into like present where it's like full color. And it's like, oh, okay, like, because for a moment I was like, oh my god, is he doing like Winter Soldier stuff again? Did he relapse back? But they tricked us.
And that was right before he kills. I guess the name of the character was RJ, who his father was Yori, who was the person that he was meeting up with to kind of try to make amends. Yeah, he just couldn't come to terms with it.
Yeah, he couldn't come to terms with it, and we see that he's really befriended his father, and they seem to go to lunch together a lot, and and this is obviously a big setup to what is going to be part of his storyline over these, now we're 5 episodes left, and leading to the point of him probably fessing up that he's the one who killed his son, because there is that, he wants to bring peace to this guy because he doesn't know what happened to his son. And, for Bucky, he needs to do this we see that he's keeping a list of names. And interesting enough, a name on that list is
Zemo. You pointed that out to me.
H. Zemo is on that list.
Helmut Zemo. And it's funny because right after you mentioned it to me, like a day later, all these sites started saying it. I'm like, well, Chris brought it to my attention first. But I'm trying to find the name of the jumper of the person of.
Oh yeah, because he's been, which I didn't know, which I had learned later on. But yeah, he's been in the comics.
Yes, so I'm thinking that it could be. There's a character named Dovich who may be him.
If anyone out there knows the name of the jumper that was featured in the beginning of Falcon Winter Soldier, just throw it in the comments, because this is what happens.
Yeah,
there's so many characters.
Yeah, so because I'm going through IMDb and looking at all the people that I think could possibly be him. The reason that I'm bringing that up is that he's in the comics and he's part of the Thunderbolts,
right? Along
with Zemo and Flag Smasher, who we also saw in the episode kind of beat the crap out of Torres, who was the guy that was informing for Sam for Falcon.
Mm-hmm.
And, people are relating it to being the Thunderbolts as being Marvel's Suicide Squad. It's, essentially a team of bad guys that are teamed together to do something impossible. What they probably won't make it out, and that's why they're given all these crazy incentives, because they're more than likely not gonna have to pay up. But
so the mercenary's name, the jumper, I found out, is Georges Batroc.
Okay,
and it's played by Georges St. Pierre, who's a MMA guy, ex-MMA,
right?
And
so the reason I didn't think it was
him,
him,
he reprised the role because he did play him before.
Oh, he did. Okay.
Yeah, in Captain America: Winter Soldier, he played him before, and he was wearing the same color jacket and all that.
Okay, because he looked too big to me to play that part. That's why. Oh, I see. All right.
Yeah,
I'm an ass. I'm seeing the pictures on IMDb right now, and I see him. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Never mind. Yeah. So the guy that I pointed out was not him.
All right.
All right.
That's right. Yeah. So Batroc, George's Batroc.
So yeah. So what did you say his name was?
George's Batroc. Batroc.
Oh, sorry. Anyway,
we crack ourselves up.
Yes. So Batroc, Flag Smasher, and Zemo are part of the Thunderbolts. So
that's correct. And so we have that whole crazy beginning, and then we as we get past all the Bucky, we see him with the senator and doing that whole setup, which was great. He's like, did you kill anybody? He's like, no, like, no. And then we get all that stuff with the father, and then it moves on, and we all that stuff with the fishing boat and the bank, and we find that Falcon has been talking to an operative, I guess a fellow agent, Air Force. I wasn't exactly sure what his role is in the military, but I don't know if he's a spy or if he's some kind of like boots on the ground, wherever city they were in. And he is on to a new, like, I guess, organization that has sprung up in the wake of the snap. And they are all about no borders between countries. They want it to go back to the way it was over the 5 years that, you know, half the population, half of life on Earth was gone. They want it to go back to the way that was. And so they are sort of perpetrating what looks like some kind of like a bank job, or I guess they're stealing some kind of money. I don't know.
Right.
But it was a really cool scene. I can't remember.
Yeah,
I'm trying to find that guy's name.
Yeah. Which guy's name? His informant?
Yeah, the guy that he's working with.
Yeah, that's Torres. I mentioned him.
Torres,
before.
that's it. Yeah, you're right. Yep. And so he's working with Torres, and Torres gets his ass handed to him by a guy in a mask who seems to have superpowers or incredible strength at the very least. I mean, because he tosses him like a rag doll. And I thought he killed him, like when he was punching him, and then he stomped him. I'm like, oh my god, he's dead. And then he wasn't. I mean, because you see him showing the footage to Sam and all that, but it definitely is interesting. So who is that? You know, who's the man in the mask, basically? Flag Smasher. Okay. That's 100% confirmed that's Flag Smasher?
Well,
I mean, I guess it is, right? I mean,
the rumor was that's Flag Smasher, or the female who's giving out the masks is Flag Smasher. But Flag Smasher, typically in the comics, is a male, but he kind of plays, from what I understand, both roles. So he's usually the one that organizes stuff, but he's also the big bad at the same time. So I don't know if they've split that up, or you know, or if they just did it as a diversion. So we'll see. Right.
And with that though, so we actually, just to back up really quick, the one thing that happened at the start, which I wasn't sure how they were going to do it. You and I did talk about this, and we didn't talk about it yet, but it does start the episode. I think we're actually feel like they're getting ready for some kind of a funeral or something. And then you realize that it's Sam going to, it looks like Washington, and he's decided to give the shield to the Captain America exhibit, and is not going to be Captain America, has sort of renounced or denied becoming, he doesn't want to become Captain America. He's going to step Falcon. He's working for the Air Force, which I also find interesting. Like he's an Avenger, but he seems to be re-enlisted with the Air Force again.
Yeah, but I think at this point the Avengers are kind of done. You know, that's probably why that's happening, because Cap's gone, Iron Man's gone, and everyone's kind of doing their thing. Yeah, that's what I think. They're with these series and with the upcoming movies, they're gonna be piecing things together so that you will finally see a new Avengers team, you know, come together. He was part of the Air Force at first.
Right.
So it kind of makes sense that he goes back.
Right.
There was a Sam Rhodes spotting.
There was.
We talked about people that may show up. I won't say who of us said Sam Rhodes or Rhodey would show up. Me. But
which was nice. I liked how they did that. He was in the beginning. It was a good, and basically him telling him, like, you know, take up the mantle, like this. You were chosen for a reason, and so there's obviously we're dealing with that. That's going to be a story arc.
Yeah. Because Sam didn't get it. Sam thought that he was going to be replacing Captain America, you know, and to an extent, yes. But I think when we get to the end of the episode and he sees John Walker, he realizes his mistake in that someone was going to be Captain America regardless.
Right.
So, and the difference is, it's like, who's this guy? He didn't even know Steve Rogers. You know, I knew Steve Rogers. I know what his values were, what he was, you know, what he was capable of, and everything. And I think that's when he really realizes that, you know, he should have kept the shield, because under no circumstances did he want to see someone else with that very shield.
Right. And by the way, there have been some amazing memes coming out all week with the Captain America versus U.S. agent, the John Walker back to back. There's some good memes.
I saw the bagel meme.
Yeah, bagel meme was great.
Yeah. But yeah, the other interesting thing though is we don't actually see Bucky and Sam together at all during this episode.
Nope, not at all. Which I was like, wow, they haven't even crossed paths yet. Which
right
now I've heard. So once again, we are when we're doing this live. It's the Thursday before episode 2 will be dropping. So of course, Victor and I are not special enough to have seen episode 2. We don't get any advances. Due to popular theory, we do not get any advanced screenings of anything. So we have no idea. But I've heard that episode 2 is really going to be getting into it. Like, this should be a really cool episode, is what I've heard from. I don't think this is just Marvel hype. It seems like we're going to start getting into it, and I got a feeling that, because once again, this is only 6 episodes, so now we have 5 left. So
yeah,
I think they're going to really start accelerating the story. I think we've set the pieces here, and now we're going to start getting into like the thing, and we still have Zemo still has to come into the picture. And one of the things that you and I were talking about, actually, because Zemo's name is in that book, and now we're getting into some just prediction stuff here, is that Zemo may actually have a redemption arc in this. That it's very possible that Zemo may not be a villain, or may come and help, because potentially what has to happen with Bucky, whatever he has to do with Zemo, could be a thing that then gets Zemo to sort of, redeem himself and actually become a hero, or be working with the good guys, or at least pair up for a time being before, going off and being a villain again.
Or the other thing, because once I read that whole Thunderbolts thing, I was like, because that's what I thought of initially, the whole redemption thing. But then I read the Thunderbolts thing, and I was like, so is it like the complete opposite, where, he lures them, or he takes advantage of Bucky, somehow, and decides to team up with the other two? I don't know. But again, if they're the Marvel version of the Suicide Squad, could he be the leader who then is able to convince them and turn everything around? Because we've also seen outer worldly things that come to Earth and try to take the Earth over. So it's a common enemy. So if even if Bucky and Sam and anyone else is trying to fight them, but if a greater threat shows up, maybe they end up all having to team up as a result,
right? Which I think any of those are a possibility. I mean, I think I guess as we get episode by episode, we'll be able to kind of, I think, back into it a little bit more. But I'm interested to now see where episode 2 is going to go, and what version of U.S. agent will we be getting in this series?
Who's also who's also at one point a Thunderbolt as well,
right? So, and I think we can expect to see some really. So real quick, just let's talk about production level, because we did talk about it last week. The production level on this show so far, to me, looks like this would have been released. This is like theater level. Yeah. Like absolutely cinematic quality.
Outside of like the ridiculous CGI that we saw in Infinity War and Endgame, you put that aside, I think this is on par with everything else that we've seen sans the CGI.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, once again, just that opening sequence with the helicopter was just, I mean, that was outstanding. That was like, they really pulled no punches. That to me was like everything that if we had seen this in the theater, like I don't think that scene would have changed at all.
Right. No, I agree with you 100%. And like we talked about last week, it really blurs the line between theater and TV. I think again we're seeing the infancy of where there's going to be a giant turnover, and let's not forget, nowadays the way the technology is, the TV sets that you have at home are a million times better than what it was when we were kids. So the difference between going to the theaters and seeing something at home, the color wasn't exactly right, the definition wasn't exactly right, the sound wasn't exactly right. But nowadays, the way technology has come, if you really want to set up a home theater or have like an expensive TV and sound bar,
right,
you can have all this at home. So yeah, sure, you missed the home theater experience, or you missed the theater experience, but watching it at home isn't all that bad either. So you're definitely not watching it on an old 17-inch TV, a 19-inch TV, where you're crowded around watching ABC on a Sunday night and dealing with commercials and whatnot.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I know that there's an hour left in the movie, but school tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't finish watching Raiders of the Lost Ark. So
before we move on, I want to make just a couple quick predictions. Let's just see, because so episode 2 is dropping tomorrow. We'll see, but will we see? So here we go. Here's a couple quick predictions. I'm going to ask you: will Sam become Captain America by the end of this
season or episode?
By the end of this series, will Sam embrace the Captain America mantle? Will he take it up?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I think it'll happen because I think he'll see that John Walker bends the rules to his own thing, and Cap had morals.
Right.
Steve Rogers had certain morals, and I think it's gonna disgust him to the point where he realizes that they need to take him down, and he's gonna need Bucky to do it.
Right. Okay. So next question: will Bucky Barnes take up the name White Wolf and leave Winter Soldier name behind? Will he take the White Wolf moniker back and take that mantle up by the end of the series?
No.
Okay. All right. And last, will we see Steve Rogers in this series?
We already have.
Okay.
We saw him right at the beginning when he's giving Sam the shield.
Well, yeah. I mean, like, you know what I'm saying.
Well, we see him again. If we do, it's going to be an old Cap kind of saying, I told you it should have been you all along. Something along those lines. I don't think we'll get anything beyond that.
Right. Okay. All right. Very good.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, you can.
Will we see Peter Parker in this series?
No, we will absolutely not see Peter Parker in this series.
Oh, shit. Sorry.
We will absolutely not see Peter Parker in this. He will not show up.
Peter Parker will be showing up in Falcon and Winter Soldier. Chris Vaglio has predicted it for the second week in a row.
Yeah, he will not be there. It will not happen.
Do not make me hit that news flash again.
So I'm looking forward to episode 2, and
me too.
I'm in. I think the show's great so far. The first episode's got me hooked. I'm in. I'm all in.
Have you seen any negative comments?
From everything that I've watched, and I've watched mostly YouTube, and I've been in some clubhouse rooms where I've been just hearing conversations, I haven't heard anything negative. Just a lot of potential theories, and this would be cool if this happens, and a couple of like, I hope this doesn't go this way. So everybody's sort of like, everybody seems to be in with episode 1. Now it's like, where's it going?
Yeah. Biggest rumor that I've read, which I have a hard time believing that they'll divert time into this, is that Sam goes looking for Bucky because he thinks Bucky is involved somehow with the
organization.
Yeah.
It could be, or it's the fact that U.S. agent is maybe the thing that brings them together.
Yeah, I think it's more likely that will bring them together because I think it's going to be a common enemy or a common disdain for someone that will lead them to find one another.
Do you think they'll be brought together in episode 2? Or do you think it's going to be one more solo episode and then episode 2 will end with them sort of like together and then get us into like the transition into episode 3?
It's hard because it feels like they could do either or. It feels like it could be a case where Sam has to take care of his family business. Bucky still needs to, visit some of the people on his list. And once they start to see how U.S. Agent is operating, which I think that's going to flesh out during episode 2 without a doubt. I think maybe one of them ends up having to team up with him or see him closely.
Right.
So that it's going to end up bringing them together. And maybe Rhodey again is going to play into this and be like, hey, talk to Sam, talk to Bucky. You guys knew Steve better than anyone else. Right.
That's a good point, actually, is Rhodey's the one that kind of brings them together. I didn't even think of it that way. And that would be a great reason for his character to be in the show. Like, and he's serving a purpose rather than just making a cameo.
Yeah, and let's not forget that when Steve Rogers was away and when Tony Stark was away, he was kind of the liaison between what was left of the Avengers and the government.
Yeah, especially during Civil War, he seemed to be like the go-between, the peacemaker type character.
Right. So I think, and they need to set up his series as well. So there's all that. There's a lot that they can work with there.
All right, excellent. And all right, so with that. So, I mean, we could go on talking about this for another half an hour, I'm sure, but there are some other topics that we'd like to get to.
Yes. Quick hits already.
Oh, I didn't know if go on. I didn't know if these next topics were quick hits or are they
let's at least talk a little bit about Black Widow.
All right, great. So, not quick hits yet. Almost quick hits.
Almost
so
quick hits.
Right? And
something we've been talking about for quite a long time, and it just seems like it's like talking to your friend and saying, she's no good for you. I know you don't see it, but I'm telling you, before you get your feelings hurt, you need to pull the trigger.
Yeah, I had a feeling they might do this. I was hoping they wouldn't. I was hoping to more or less like, listen, we just got to get this movie out. Let's just go for it. I think they're trying to take the temperature, obviously, of what's going on in, once again, not just the United States, the world, because these are global. These films are released globally, and not every country is running theater screens, and not even every state in the United States is opening screens yet, and some that are only 50%, some even lower. New York just opened up to 50%. New Jersey just opened up to 50%. And I mean, when I bring up these states because they're very densely populated, I think California is 50%. I think Texas and Florida are all the way open. They're doing their own thing, but I don't know the rest of the country, and I definitely know that the rest of the world isn't there yet. So I was hoping that they would do a more like let's just get this out and then do the $30 fee for watching it or whatever. But it seems like they've said, listen, I think this will probably be the last time they move this movie. I mean, I can't see them delay. I mean,
right.
I mean, how much more? I mean, because at some point, like, listen, we all love this character. We all want to see this film, but it just, the further they delay it, the more Marvel's just moving ahead with phase 4. And it's just kind of like, they're going to be calling back to things that happened like 4 or 5 years ago that like, kind of like, oh, okay. Like, so I got a feeling this will be the last time that they move it, and who knows what's going to happen, if things are going to get more open or, if there's going to be any setbacks, which, no one can know for sure.
Right.
Why would not? Now, I did say last week when we were talking about this, that this would be the film that I would go to the theater and go see as like, if they kept the May, and I would go pay to go see it. I've had my vaccines. I feel safe. But however, I am not paying $30 for a movie ticket
at home.
Oh, $30 to watch at home. I thought it was $30 to buy a movie ticket.
No. Movie ticket is your standard price.
Standard price. Okay.
And then it's similar to what they did with Mulan and with the other Disney Plus movies that they've released ahead of time. Cruella is going to be the same type of a deal, which comes out, I think, a month before. Okay. And there's one other, Raya and something.
Oh, Raya and the Drag, yeah. And that's been out.
So that similar deal. They each got $30 to watch it from home. And then I'm assuming that by the time the next movie, was Shang-Chi is the name of the next movie?
Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
Yeah. By the time Shang-Chi comes out in September, which that was moved back because July 9th was Shang-Chi's date. Yeah. I'm assuming that Black Widow will be out then. So that will probably be on Disney Plus. Will it does it make sense to pay the $30 to see it 3 months in advance to you?
I would pay the $30, and I would probably, especially if it was good and it came out and that was the first film, I would probably, just because I'm like that, even if it was just me by myself, I would probably go check it out, because once again, I do want to get back to going to seeing movies in theaters. Right. I still love the experience. I still think it's great. I want to go to the movies. And this would be a great first film to go back and go see in my book, for me.
Right.
I mean, if it was a good film, I would go see it in the theater. If it was Disney Plus first and then theaters later. I know, I mean, I did it with Star Wars all the time. I did it with other films. I would go see the same film twice in the theater, like, just because I thought it was cool. I saw Endgame twice in the theater.
Well, that's why I think they're kind of in a no-lose situation, because look at, Avatar, even with the limited release now, people are going to see it.
Yeah, because people are like, hey, if I want to go to the theaters, I want it to be an experience, right? Here we go again with experience.
So, I mean, if this movie does well, if it has a pretty good showing at the theaters and then on Disney Plus, it's viewed by a lot of people, you could theoretically release it in theaters in like a year or two. And if it's popular, people are going to see it. I mean, the diehard fan is going to go see it. You're not going to get the casual fan that just wants to watch the latest release. But the diehard Marvel MCU movie-going audience who, like you said, goes to see Endgame like 7 times, and anytime something has been re-released, they go see it. It's going to happen with this. So I don't think they really have anything to lose. And given the circumstances, all you got to do is throw an asterisk next to it and say, hey, movie numbers were affected due to COVID. Much like, any sports season that was truncated because of this. There's so many things that were affected because of COVID. So, I mean, I don't see the big deal. It's not going to break any box office records. It wasn't going to begin with. The only thing that they could do is possibly say that, it beat Wonder Woman for the you know, the biggest box office for a female-fronted movie, or, you know, beating Captain Marvel, which came out after. So, I mean, outside of that, is there any other like thing that they could seriously say to like sell this? I don't see it. So
no, I don't see it either. I mean, I wish they would just release it already. You know.
Yeah.
By the way, New Mutants still is not on Disney Plus yet, or
it's not.
No,
it's on here in Spain. It is.
It's not on here.
It's been on Disney Plus for like 3 months.
Nope, it is not on Disney Plus here. My last time I checked.
Okay, I'm gonna watch this. I'm gonna share my screen.
I am actually. Oh, so here's where it's gonna be. It looks like new. Okay, here's what's gonna happen. New Mutants. This was a day ago. I'm looking at this right now. New Mutants will skip Disney Plus and go to HBO Max instead in April.
What? To the
New Mutants will debut on April 10th on HBO Max.
That makes 0 sense.
But that's US, and obviously they have a different deal internationally in Europe.
Okay, so let me see. I'm gonna share.
So if I used my IPN,
is he here? How do I get this to work? All right. Share screen.
Yep. Do you not have share screen on your side?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure. Okay, I got it. It's this one. No, application window. This one. Share. All right. So, Marvel. Cinematic Phase 2, Phase 3, Phase 4. Marvel Legacy movies. Okay.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. The Gifted is on there.
Yeah. Gifted and a bunch of other things. Yeah. Okay. So it's here. Shield. Okay. So they finally added Agents of Shield. Where's New Mutants? Damn it. I've seen it on here.
Is it possibly they took it off?
It's possible. Let's see. Movies. And it could be one of those deals where they had it initially. Let's see if I can do a search.
Yeah, they may have had it initially and then taken it down. Oh, look at that. Yeah, we do not have it here in the United States, like on Disney Plus. It's the whole film or just the trailer?
No, I just opened the trailer, but
okay, right.
Now the whole film is here. See
okay, all right.
Play button 135.
Got it. All right. Well, have you? I guess you haven't watched it yet.
I haven't watched it yet. It's one of these things. I didn't get a chance to watch Justice League either. It's just everything has been just
right. Well, Justice League, you need to block out some time.
Yes, the good old 4 hours. And this is Star, which isn't available in the States.
No.
Which is, I mean, it's a lot of this stuff. So I used to be subscribed to the Sky Network over here, which was essentially they had a lot of the rights to Fox's TV stuff, like Modern Family, and they've essentially brought it over to Disney Plus as part of Star. Homeland is technically on Disney Plus, Netflix, and HBO.
Wow. Yeah, here it's only on I guess Showtime or whatever. It's on the Showtime. Yeah.
But yeah. So it's interesting. The whole, you know, the rights to all this stuff and what Disney purchased, what Disney has. And, you know, we've talked about it before where there were certain things that they were going to initially have on their, you know, on Disney Plus that they would have to give back because they got it as a loaner from Netflix because Netflix technically had the rights for X amount of years. So that's that. I thought it
Disney
was cool.
Star will not be released in the U.S. anytime soon, is what they're saying.
Yeah, they're saying, from what I read, it's kind of like they're testing it out in the rest of the world. And also,
I see. Because Hulu, it says, because Hulu already caters to very similar content in the United States.
Hulu doesn't exist outside of North America.
Got it. Okay.
So that's kind of why they mentioned that Star is going to take its place for now. The rest of the world, they were going to see how it was going to perform. And based on that, it may be introduced in some capacity in the States. Like, one of the rumors that I read is that Hulu may cater to series where Star may cater to movies in the U.S. So,
okay.
I don't know. We'll see.
All right. There you have it.
And let's see. We've got a few
more things to talk about before we close it out.
A few quick hits.
Quick hits.
To close things out here. So something that's been on a lot of people's minds, especially since the end of The Mandalorian, was Sebastian Stan possibly playing Luke Skywalker in some capacity on Disney Plus. And he has come out and said, and this is his exact quote,
okay,
Mark Hamill calls me personally to tell me that he feels inclined to share this role with me, then I'll believe it. Until then, I won't believe it.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that's fair. He wants the blessing. He wants a blessing from the Jedi Master himself.
Right. And of course,
I think it would be a great move for them to do it, though. It would be outstanding, and we could get all that like stuff that got us all jazzed up in The Mandalorian with Luke being at prime Luke powers. So we could really get into that, like, if it's this isn't a real thing, but if it's a Luke Skywalker series or mini series, Sebastian Stan could hold that title. Yeah.
And let's not forget, because Mark Hamill does have other stuff that he does.
Of course, yeah, he does. He's very active. He's not like Star Wars isn't his only thing. He actually is very active in a lot of other projects.
Oh wow, this is crapping out on me.
So,
there it goes.
Including that one.
Including that one. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think that Mark Hamill would be. I think, given his track record, I think he would be fine with doing that.
I think so too. I mean, and quite frankly, I mean, he doesn't want to be jumping around and doing all this stuff. I think he had fun doing it for Mandalorian. I can't see him wanting to do like a full-on series, unless, of course, it's a little bit of like this, like older Luke, like kind of remembering things, and they kind of do a little bit of a flash forward, but then it's bulk of it's like Sebastian Stan or something. So it could like be a little bit of a. Like that could be interesting if it's done well, but that would be the only thing I could say. I think Sebastian Stan would be a great casting for that years of Luke, all those middle years, those 30 years basically. In between.
You know what Mark Hamill could be? He could be like the grandfather in Princess Bride. He could be, cracking open the book at the beginning of each episode and like setting things up, and then Sebastian Stan all of a sudden just comes in and just go off into action.
Right, exactly. Or it could be like The Hobbit, where Bilbo has been writing and Frodo.
Yeah. There you go.
Frodo reads it, or so, whatever, so on and so forth. He's writing it, but then young Bilbo is, as we see from The Hobbit. So it's that kind of a thing.
Yeah. Okay, that could work.
That could work, right? All right.
Let's see. Pierce Brosnan will play Dr. Fate in Black Adam. Excuse me.
So this will be Pierce Brosnan's first. I think this is his first action, or not action, but first time being in a superhero role or in a superhero movie.
I think so as well.
because basically he's been Bond and Remington Steele. And,
yeah, and he's played a lot of other like small like action parts here and there.
Yeah.
He's done like a lot of independent films since retiring as Bond, so he still has been active, but just obviously hasn't been in big studio films since then.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be. Listen, he's a great actor, so I think it's. You know, and that character wears a mask, a helmet, so. Right. You know, will be one of these like he has the helmet on for a little bit, but then takes it off a lot. Like, you know, because it's Pierce Brosnan, so.
Yeah. He'll have to show off his wares.
Like a Magneto. I mean, not Magneto. Sorry, like Mysterio.
Like Mysterio.
Chill it off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes he's got the helmet on when he's in full Mysterio mode. The helmet's on, but then other than that, it's like it's off.
Yeah. Could be. Could be.
All right.
And the last thing to kind of wrap things up here, Helen Mirren to play Hespera, villain in Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Now, this is technically her third comic book related movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I loved her in Red. I thought she was just outstanding. I mean, and I loved her. I thought she's great. I mean, I was like, I just want to see a movie of Helen Mirren like being, you know, a freaking badass, like was she MI5 or something like that? She badass, man. She was great. So I love it. I love it. I think she's gonna be outstanding. And she's just such a good actor. But you can tell when she takes roles like this that she's having such a fun time. And that she really, because Helen Mirren's at a point where she can pick and choose what she wants to do. She does not have to do just any rigmarole. You know, and I like that she wants to do this. She wants to stay relevant and she wants to have fun. So I think this is great. It's good casting. I think to land her caliber will be great. It'll be really good. And I like that first Shazam. That first Shazam movie, you and I have talked about that. I know it's like one of your favorite. It's great. It's a fun movie.
Yeah, it's my favorite DC movie out of all of them because it's a fun movie to watch and it really has a comic book feel to it. And you know, as opposed to all the other, you know, DC movies, it isn't, you know, why so dark? You know, it's the opposite end of the spectrum. And I think, sure, you need to be dark at times, but I don't think you need to be dark all the time.
No.
You know, and that's, I think, probably the fault of not only the studios, but a lot of like the indie comics as well, where, you know, sure, Dark Knight was a huge influence, but not everything needs to be Dark Knight. Not everything needs to be Wolverine and Lobo and things like this. You know.
Yeah, I mean, it's you gotta pull and you gotta. It's a little bit of a give and take, and you know, like the dark stuff is cool. Like it ain't. There's been a lot. DC, I think, does the dark stuff better than most. Image Comics has got a lot of cool dark stuff. You know, we've talked about Millar World stuff is cool. But yeah, it doesn't have to be dark all the time. And, you know, which is why Shazam's so cool, which is why the first Wonder Woman we really liked. You know, even Aquaman. Like, I know some people are split on that, but you know, honestly, it's a big, dumb, fun movie. It really is. It's a total popcorn fun movie with Aquaman, for crying out loud. I mean, come on, like, you know, I don't need a serious slow burn drama. It's Aquaman. Like, I just want to see him being a hero and doing superhero stuff.
Yeah. We forgot one point, which you actually said to me, and I completely forgot. Marvel has kind of quietly said that they're releasing a movie next year. And of course, there's all types of speculation now as to what that might be. I've been reading several articles after you mentioned it to me, and it seems like a lot of like Cinema Blend, for example. I have their page open right now. Right. They seem to feel that it's going to be one of the Marvel movies that were already announced, but didn't have a firm date. So for them, they're saying they predict that it'll be either Deadpool 3 or Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Fantastic Four, or Blade.
Oh, Okay. I feel like if anything, it could be Blade. I feel like the more likely ones would be Blade or the Deadpool 3.
Yeah. Was it? It was a September date, wasn't it?
It's not for this year though. It's for next year.
No, it's next year. But it wasn't it September. What you had sent me?
Yeah. Let me get that back up again. Yeah. Yeah. Let me get that link back.
And the reason that I bring that up is that Guardians is a summertime blockbuster. The other two have been. So
right, exactly.
I wouldn't mess with that at all. Deadpool has come out during the summer as well, but Blade right before Halloween. You know, October
7th.
It's Blade.
Is the mystery. It says untitled Marvel film in 2022, October 7th.
Yeah, logically it should be Blade.
Right, which would be dope, man. I'd love that.
Yeah, because it would be right before Halloween, and you could see a movie like this carrying them, you know, for the entire month, and they have their next release, I think, is in November.
Yeah,
of that year, man. I closed the link that you sent me.
Yeah, no, I have it open. Actually, you know what? I'll bring it up really quick, just to wrap up the show.
Yeah,
and this is coming courtesy of BGR website. Okay, so right here. So here's the 2021 schedule. July 9th, Black Widow. September 3rd, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. November 5th, Eternals. December 17th, Spider-Man No Way Home. Then 2022, March 25th is Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. May 6th, Thor, Love and Thunder. July 8th, Black Panther 2. And here it is, October 7th, Untitled Marvel. November 11th, Captain Marvel 2. And then in 2023, a bunch of untitled.
Yeah, here's another thing. The Guardians are going to appear in that Thor movie, so it kind of wouldn't make sense, at least to me, wouldn't make sense to just have the Guardians movie. Then it would kind of make more sense to have it come out the following summer.
Right.
The other thing that I thought of, and maybe this will be a downer, but Venom 2.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, listen, but isn't that supposed to be this year? I guess. I mean, is the Carnage film? Isn't that technically a Venom 2 film?
Yes, it is. It's Venom 2.
Carnage film.
Venom 2. Let There Be Carnage is the name.
Right. So that is coming out
September 2021.
Yep, September 2021. So that's this year if it doesn't get pushed. Which I think they're going to try to stay on target with that as much as they can. And that's Sony. So that's not, MCU doesn't really have much pull in what Sony will decide to do.
But it could it play in somehow into, because here's, and this will be the last thing because I know you got to run, but doesn't it seem weird to you that Spider-Man is coming out in December instead of the summer when it's come out the other years in the summer months?
Yeah, but I think if the schedule works out that way, I think here's what I think they're doing. I think they're trying to hedge their bets a little bit, and they're trying to finish the year strong, knowing that Spider-Man will be a big ticket film, and if Eternals bombs,
yeah.
And because that slot, and that's why they're doing November, which is smart, and then they're going to finish strong with another holiday film. So you get two films. One is we don't know, and the other one is like surefire. So
it's funny that you say that, because while I was seeing this list, I'm like, we know that there's a lot of big names in Eternals, but we really haven't heard a lot about it.
No. And they're stacking it with big names on purpose because most people have no idea what the F the Eternals are. And and they, it's going to be another really weird thing like Guardians. And, you know, Guardians was a risk. It was like, well, we're going to do this. It's going to be really weird. And it was a hit, but it's a really bizarre thing. And it's not like, so Eternals could be that thing that gets huge like Guardians,
Right.
or it could be a complete flop because just people don't get it. It may be too out there, which is why put a lot of names in it. We'll hopefully get people to be like, oh, well, Angelina Jolie's in it. And I don't know, there's like it's like a cast of thousands. So it's an ensemble movie. So, you know, we'll see what happens. But if it tanks, Disney doesn't want to end the year on failure. And then they know, okay, well, Spider-Man's right here. Plus that's also in conjunction with Sony. So it is a half and half thing there, or whatever.
If we're dealing with multiverse things, you know, as they speculate, it, you know, the following thing is Doctor Strange. So it kind of all just works out. So we'll see.
That is it. All right. Well, that man, woo, I'm tuckered out. There's a lot to talk about. And we still didn't even talk about the Snyder Cut yet, which we will be doing. We will be talking about that at some point once Victor has seen it. I've seen it. I will probably watch it again just in intermittent so I can take some more notes. Once Victor watches it, we'll basically do a whole episode more than likely on just the Justice League Snyder Cut. Yeah, it'll be a 4-hour episode to match the 4 hours of the Snyder.
Actually, we're gonna do the MOD version. We're gonna do a 30-second episode on just the Snyder Cut.
Right, you know, we used the Snyder Cut.
0.5 episodes, so this will be a 0.1 episode.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So with that, we will be getting to that. So rest assured, we will be talking about Justice League at some point very soon in the future. We will be back here next Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to talk about. Definitely going to be talking about the next episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier, which will be episode 2, and any other stuff that happens between now and then in the world of geek news and geekdom. Of course, we always value your feedback. So if there's something in particular you'd like to hear us talk about or cover on the show, please hit us up and let us know. Also, we do ask that you hit that subscribe button wherever you're watching this. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. And if you're listening to the audio version, please subscribe to wherever you get your podcasts. All of this is so that way you can stay up to date when we drop new episodes of the show. So with that, any final words, my friend?
Yeah, I would say, you know, we need to start saying that they need to punch it and subscribe to the episode.
There you go.
To the channel.
So we want you to punch it and subscribe to the channel wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you're watching us on YouTube, punch that subscribe button.
Yeah.
Was that better?
Yeah. Whoops.
Punch it. Punch it.
Yeah. And on that note, see you guys till next week. See ya.
Later.